Hi guys, so for our author and illustrator and poet project this week, I chose Denise Fleming. I find it very important when reading books to children and doing activities and such with them that it's important that they have a book that has a lot to look at and offer in the form of illustrations, but also as well as fun words, such as rhyming words, to go hand in hand. And so I feel Denise Fleming was able to do that really well, and not just the one book that I'm going to read today, but almost all of her books. So Denise Fleming was born in Toledo, Ohio in 1950. She spent a lot of time at her local library as a young child, going once every single week and checking out 3 books. And so she spent a lot of time reading and kind of looking at pictures and such. She took a lot of inspiration from her mother in the sense of her illustrations, because growing up with her mom used a lot of brightly colored decorations for the house and fabrics, and she painted their walls with deep greens, yellows, lavenders, and coral colors. So the bright colors was just something that Denise kind of always grew up and was subjected to. Um, in her time in high school, she took a lot of art classes. It was never anything that she imagined being something that she can make a career out of, but it was something that she thoroughly enjoyed. Therefore, after high school, she went and applied to Kendall School of Arts and Design, which was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and she took picture books as sort of her inspiration for her artwork that she did within that class. After she graduated from the school, she did a bunch of freelance work, which she did for a while until she gathered up enough courage to be able to go to New York City and start looking for local book work there. Her husband, David, is actually an illustrations major, so anytime that she does complete work, he's often able to kind of look through and proofread everything and help her out before the work goes and becomes published. So some of her works that she has published that are pretty famous books are Barnyard Banter, Beetle Bop, In the Tall Tall Grass, In the Small Small Pond, and Mama Cat Has 3 Kittens, which you'll find are the ones that I listed on my brochure. But there's many, many more books that she has done. So for the reading on this one, I chose In the Small Small Pond, which is both illustrated and written by Denise Fleming. I chose this one because the colors in it really pop. They go together well, and the words are fun, rhyming words that the children can kind of play with and get into as the story is being read to them. So In the Small Small Pond by Denise Fleming. In the small, small pond, wiggle, jiggle, tadpoles wriggle. Waddle, wade, geese parade. Hover, shiver, wings quiver. Drowse, doze, eyes close. Lash, lunge, herons plunge. Splitter, splatter, minnows scatter. Circle, swirl, whirligigs twirl. Sweep, swoop, swallows scoop. Click, clack, claws crack. Dabble, dip, tails flip. Splish, splash, paws flash. Pile pack, muskrat stack. Chill breeze, winter freeze. Cold night, sleep tight, small, small pond. So as you can tell with that story, there's a lot of colors and a lot of different pictures and images for the children to look at. And then I really enjoy the fact that there's rhyming words, which will kind of help, the memorization for the students. It'll help them, in the sense of wanting to get involved and make it fun for them. And I really enjoy that aspect of Denise's work that she does. So an interesting fact about Denise Fleming and how she gets her inspiration for her stories is her husband, and her daughter have actually made their backyard wildlife friendly. They have planted a lot of food, like plants and such, that will accommodate most all wildlife that are local to their area, and then also have shelters and stuff built back there. And she'll just kind of sit out there and watch the wildlife and the animals, the bugs, all the different critters, how they live and interact with one another, and the things that they do. And then she takes that back and she makes her stories and she illustrates her photos with those. So I thought that was a really interesting fact about her on how she gets her ideas for her work. So one of the activities that I thought would be fun for the children to do, it would be a session-based activity. It would be about 5 days, so a week long, over her books. So session 1 on Monday would be to introduce a few of her books to the class, In a Small, Small Pond being one of them, In the Tall, Tall Grass, Mama Cat Has Three Kittens, Barnyard Banter, just a few different books for the class. Read them to them, allow the children time to kind of look over the illustrations and really take in those books. And then on day 2, Tuesday, have a discussion period over the different books. So allowing the children to ask questions, talk about what they heard, what they saw. If the students want a book reread, rereading it to the class, allowing them to have hands-on with the books and look through it themselves. And then on sessions 3 and 4, so Wednesday and Thursday, the students would break up into small groups of 4 or 5, and then I would divide the stories up amongst the different groups. And the children would make crafts that go with that story, whether that be little puppets or hats, shirts they'll cut out and tape onto themselves, any craft that they could possibly imagine or come up with that they can make with the tools supplied to them, and then work on a skit with each other that will tell the story from beginning to end. So again, that would be on Wednesday and Thursday, so they could have time to kind of, create their project and practice it at the same time. And then on day 5, Friday, the students would come up in their selected groups. I would read the story out loud to the class as the students kind of acted out their skit for the students. So I think this activity would be very interactive for the students. It would allow all students to be involved. It would also allow them to work together and work on their social and team building skills, along with tapping into their imaginations and their creativity side of being able to design their own props that would go hand in hand with the story so they could tell their classmates. And it also allows for them to work on being able to designate roles to each other, and allowing the skit to flow smoothly and chronologically.